In this presentation, I'm going to provide an example of how to mirror the final project. But first, let's review the project to make sure that we have everything complete before mirroring. Now I'm going to zoom in, starting with the footing, and review this area. Notice that I placed the welded wire mesh in the center of the slab. And if you zoom in, I've also trimmed it back 3 inches from the edge of the concrete. All reinforcing steel should always be encased in concrete, so you want to trim them back, typically 3 inches. Notice the bottom line underneath the gravel fill is on the Sims layer, or the symbols layer. I'm going to zoom back out, or actually I'm going to pan. So pan up the wall. Notice the grade line. I place it on the concrete layer because the grade line should always be very, very thick. In this case, I don't have a different layer, so I'm just going to use the concrete layer. Also notice that the backfill is at 45-degree angle. Both the subfloor and the underlayment are both on the sheet layer, along with the gypsum board and the wall sheathing. The baseboard and exterior siding is on the finishes layer. For the house wrap, I just used the arc command and I just drew a small arc on the fins layer. Up here I use the hex hatch pattern for the loose fill insulation. All the white lines that you see are on the framing layer, and then I have the fascia board, the metal drip edge, and the shingles along with the felt all on the fins layer. The insulation baffle is this dash line. It's used to hold back the loose fill insulation to make sure that you have ventilation from the eave into the attic space. Okay. Looking over at the center. To get this line, what I did was I offset 12 feet exactly from the interior side of the band joist. So I took this line and offset 12 feet to the right side. Then, to find this line, I took the line that I just mirrored, this white one, and I mirrored it based on the center of the sole plate to get it to go to the left side. Then I changed it to the dash layer. If I zoom in, notice that my post is a 1/4 inch in from the edge of the plinth block, because a 6x6 post is actually 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Again, note that the welded wire mesh is held back 3 inches approximately from the side. That's just a quick review of some of the basic things. To provide a more random hatch pattern for the gravel fill, you can double click on it, and in this case I use an angle of 23 degrees. You can play with the angles to get something that appears more random. Now I'm ready to mirror, so I'm going to do a zoom all. And I'm going to go to the mirror command, and I select everything to get mirrored, and then I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to deselect the center items. So I deselect everything under the center bearing system. I hit enter, specify center first line of mirror point. I'm just going to pick a point at the top, and with ortho on I go straight up, pick another point, erase source objects. No, I can just hit enter, and now I've mirrored my object. Another common mistake I'll just point out before we end, and that is these bridging lines. The first line in the center, this line, I just drew from midpoint to midpoint of my joist to create a vertical line. Then I offset that line 2.5 inches to the right and 2.5 inches to the left and place them on the dash layer. It's a 1x3, which is actually 2.5 inches wide. Now I'm going to zoom all. And at this point, I'm going to end my presentation regarding mirroring the final project. And if you have any questions, please contact me.